Today, I'm going to show you how to create oil of Boil and Newt Saliva, two of the ingredients in the life potion from Hocus Pocus. And this is going to be the first in a three-part series where we make all of the ingredients. The things we'll need to create our oil of Boil and Newt Saliva are two bottles. So for oil of Boil, I'm going to use this taller bottle that I got last year from Target's Bullseye Playground or Dollar Spot, whatever you want to call it. It was one of their bottles in their potion bottle line. Then we're going to use some rubbing alcohol. I have some olive oil, as well as some distilled water. We're going to use some sandpaper, some Distress Oxide, and a felt pad to apply it. I have some black cording and some crystal beads. And then we're going to use some black hot glue. And then for our Newt Saliva, we're going to do a Mercury Glass finish. So we're going to use a spray bottle with some vinegar or alcohol in it. We're going to use this small bottle here. I'm using the Krylon Looking Glass spray paint. And then for the inside of the bottle, we're going to use some styling gel that's alcohol-free. And then I'm going to use some neon green gel food coloring. And finally, we will need our labels printed on sticker paper, and the link for this is in the description down below. Let's get started. Would you like a chance to win one of my monthly potion bottles? Then consider supporting me over on Patreon. All of my patrons have a chance to win a monthly potion bottle. Link is in the description down below. So for our oil of Boil, I'm going to rough up the bottle, which is why I have gloves on, just because I don't want to mess up my nails. But I'm going to take some of this sandpaper. And for the sandpaper, I just always pick up, they have an assorted pack at the Dollar Tree that has all different types of grit. It's all these perfect sizes to be able to rough up our bottles. And I find that it's just a really easy way to get different sized and different grit sandpaper for a very affordable price. So we're just going to rough this up. And I don't have to worry about the neck of the bottle too much because we're going to cover that with cording. So I'm basically just trying to focus on the middle of the bottle here. Okay, so I have roughed up my bottle. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see all of the little scratches, but we have a nice aged finish down here. So now I'm going to take some of my Distress Oxide. You also could do alcohol ink, you could do regular paint, and I'm going to use a piece of felt just like you would with some alcohol ink, and I'm just going to collect a little bit on here, and I'm going to start to rub it in so it gets into some of these scratches that we made with the sandpaper. So it gave us this really great aged look that looks like it's just been sitting dirty on the shelf for a while, which I really like. And the color I used for this one is the vintage photo color. All right, so now that we have this taken care of, we're going to go ahead and fill up our bottle. Now, since this one is oil of Boil, I wanted to do something a little bit different than what we have done before. So I'm going to take some water. This is distilled water, so, and we are going to be putting alcohol in here, so that will help keep it from getting gross. And then I'm going to add my olive oil. Now, I went with olive oil because I love the, greenish yellow color of it, and I thought it would be a really nice touch. Now, as all of you probably know from science class, oil and water do not mix. They will separate back out. And I wanted that on purpose so that we get our oil of Boil. Now, alcohol and water will blend, so it'll keep the water and the alcohol separated, and when we shake it up, it'll kind of do this whole bubbly thing, and it'll leave it in the middle, which I just think is going to be really cool. And since I know the alcohol likes to go all over the place, I'm going to use a funnel just so it doesn't get crazy. And you can already see, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, I can see it up here, that the oil is kind of bubbling up. All right, and I'm using a rubber cork for this one. And I replaced the original cork. This one is a number 3 of the rubber corks. So, okay, so as you guys can probably tell, we have this cool, like, bubbly effect. And if we mix it up, it's all going to separate back out into its own little bubbly realms. So I think it's just really cool how this will separate back out, bubble up, and give us a different look. But I thought this would be kind of fun for Oil of Boil. So we're going to wrap the neck of our bottle, and I'm going to do that with some black cording here. And I'm going to do that just like we have so many bottles before. So I've made a U, I've captured the U, and then I'm just continuing to go around. And then we're going to put the end through the loop. And we're going to pull down on our bottom rope here. And that's going to pull that behind so that we don't need to use any glue. And then we can just cut this off flush. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, but while we were doing the wrapping, it's continuing to separate the alcohol and the water out, and the oil is going to the top. So I just love the gross look we're getting here for our Oil of Boil. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up, I'm going to put our label on. So just like normal, I have printed this on sticker paper, and I've gone around the outside edge with a matching marker just because it helps give it a little bit more of a finished look. So now that we have our label on here, we can do our drippings on the top. We are going to create some black drips up here, and then we're going to stick some of our crystal pieces into the top of it, because if you actually watch the very beginning of Hocus Pocus when Winnie is making the life potion, the bottle that has Oil of Boil in it is got a long neck like this, and it's a darker colored bottle, but the very top of it has these crystal looking pieces in it, so I wanted to kind of mimic that. Okay, so we got our little crystals up here with our black drips, and I think that just looks really cool. And I think because these crystals look so white, I'm going to use the same Oxide ink that we used on the bottle to just kind of add a little bit of a dirty brown to it. Just to age it up ever so slightly. My hot glue up here is not 100% dry, but dry enough that they shouldn't go anywhere. And once that's done, we have our Oil of Boil. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this bottle of vinegar and we're going to lightly mist the bottle so that it gives us some droplets. Then I'm going to use my looking glass spray paint and do a light coat, and then we're going to wait 2 minutes, blot off the vinegar dots, spray one more time with vinegar, spray one more time with the looking glass, wait 2 minutes, blot the dots again, and then we're going to let it dry thoroughly, and it's dry in about 10 or 15 minutes, but you'll notice that the longer it sits, the more mirrory it looks. Okay, so as you can see, we got this really great old Mercury finish on our bottle that just looks fantastic. And I love how quickly this Looking Glass paint dries, and it just gives such a great finish. I used the same type of paint when I did my prophecy orbs in my book, The Wizard's Craft Book, and I just loved how those turned out, and this turned out great. I wanted to make this one Mercury because if you look in Winnie's hand when she is getting ready to do the Newt Saliva, it is definitely a Mercury bottle, so I wanted to make sure I could mimic that with these ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and make our mixture of Newt Saliva to put inside. So to do that, we are going to use our thick styling gel. You could also do a green soap. You could do hand sanitizer, anything like that. I just wanted this to kind of have a drooly vibe to it. And I thought the gel worked out really well for that. And it doesn't need to be a ton, you just want a little bit, and I'm going to color it because when you look in, I want you to be able to see that there is something actually in there. Because even though it has the Mercury finish, it is still like a transparent finish, which I think is really cool. So I'm going to add a little bit of our neon green food coloring. And then with this one, I'm going to mix it up in the bag. So we're just going to kind of knead it and mix it that way. And I actually think I want just a tiny bit more in there. Okay, and I think that's mixed really well. A nice green saliva color. And I'm going to trim the end. And we're going to squeeze it in. And I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see. Oh, you can see pretty well. You just get that green look through the Mercury glass, which I think looks really cool. So we're going to put our label on, and I actually didn't like this little mark that the vinegar left. It was just a little bit larger glob on there, and so it kind of pulled more paint off than some of the smaller ones. So we're going to actually put our sticker there. So again, I've taken my sticker, printed on sticker paper, and I've gone around the outside edge with a matching marker. It just, again, gives it a little bit more finished of a look. And anytime you put a label on a rounded surface like this, you have to be a little patient because you definitely have to do some more smoothing and rubbing down for it. And I want to make sure this is straight. Okay. So you basically just do the best you can. You kind of do the middle in one direction, middle in the other, and then you just kind of start to rub out from there. And you'll notice you'll get little creases, and that's okay. Because as you smooth out, just kind of use your nail or a burnisher, and you can get some of those to kind of not go away, but you can make them smaller for sure. And I also just think they add a little bit of character to the label, which, again, I think makes them look a little aged, so I'm definitely okay with it. But it does take a little bit more patience than a straight, flat surface to put the label on. Okay, and we got our label here. And I actually think I want to add just a little bit of black cording around the neck here. And this time I'm actually going to leave the ends because I think I want to knot it. And then I'm going to cut these. And then I think I'm going to unravel these ends to just kind of give a different look to it. And I may trim these a little shorter too, but... Okay, and then I'm going to spin this around to the front. And I do think I'm going to trim this just a little bit shorter. And I think that gives it a really great finished look. So this is what the oil of boil will look like when it is settled. And then I love that when you mix it up, you get these little tiny bubbles in there, and then they'll just start to rise to the top. So we get this cool, like, bubbly, oily vibe. And I really love that you just get this hint of green in our Mercury Newt Saliva bottle. So there you have it, our oil of boil and newt saliva, the first and last ingredient that Winnie puts into the life potion. Stay tuned next week for our second set of ingredients, which is going to be blood of an owl and herb of red. And then for the third video in the series, we will have a dash of pox and dead man's toes. And you'll want to tune in each week so that you have a chance to win a special giveaway at the end of my third video. So if you guys like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.